Okay. This is a mock simulation session for Social Work 506 at the University of Michigan. I am not a real licensed therapist. I am a therapist in training, and the character Zoe Ye is not a real life character. Okay. Good afternoon, Zoe. How are you doing today?
I'm fine.
Doing well.
Same as usual.
Yeah, same as usual. How's school been lately?
Now it has passed midterm. Kind of like getting more used to schoolwork right now, but like still tired and kind of overwhelmed with like all the things and new knowledge that I've been absorbing. I think I can say I am better adapted to this master degree program, but I felt like recently I've been like getting tired more easily. I don't know why. It's just um like I've been losing some energy to do my work. Not that outgoing as usual. Just yeah, don't know why.
No. Thank you for sharing that. I will definitely include that in part of our treatment plan and session moving forward today. So thank you for that information. Before we get into things, I just want to lay out the agenda of what I'm thinking for today and get your consent on it. And then want to see if you have any questions about our confidentiality agreement before we move forward. Do you have any lingering questions?
No?
Okay. Do you have any feedback or maybe something that you wanted to add from the last session that we didn't cover or that maybe I missed?
I would say maybe my sleeping problems. I don't remember we discussed this last time because yeah, I don't remember, but recently, like what I said, I've been tired for no reason and also not getting like the quality sleep I used before. Think I would like to talk about this in this session too.
Okay, great. We'll definitely talk about that and go over that then. So what I'm thinking for today is that kind of like you already spoke about, the first half and majority of our session will be just continuing to get to know one another and continuing to understand why you're here and what you're hoping to get out of therapy. And then the last 15 minutes or so, I might run us through a brief mindfulness exercise in order to give you an example of what a coping mechanism for school-related stress could look like. If that's something that you'd be interested in, if it's not, then we definitely don't have to do it. Just wanted to provide a real life example for you there. And then we'll also work together to create some goals on what you really want out of therapy, what you're hoping feels different afterwards, and what, if any, changes you're hoping to make while you're here. Does that sound good?
Yeah.
Okay, great. Well, let's start with this developing sleeping problem. So you said that you have not been sleeping as much lately and you haven't been getting as high quality of sleep. Is that correct?
I go to bed the same time as usual.
Okay.
It's just I need more time to fall asleep recently, and
Okay,
that
so,
has affected my sleeping quality as well.
okay. So you're not falling asleep as quickly then?
Yeah, right now it takes like about half an hour, I think. I'm not checking my clock, but it just feels like it has been half an hour, and usually it's like around 10 or 15 minutes, I guess.
Okay. Do you notice yourself having any racing or consistent thoughts before bed that are maybe a distraction?
Um, Usually when I lie on my bed, I start thinking about lots of stuff because thoughts just keeps coming in. It is like a habit. It's same as usual. Like I think a lot of things, but Recently it's just, yeah, I think these thoughts just doesn't go away that easily, or I just don't get very tired after thinking of all these thoughts and I just fall asleep. It's just sometimes these thoughts just keeps coming up and then I keep thinking about it and then I just fall asleep later.
What are you thinking about?
Mostly about schoolwork, of course, what happened in class during the day. Um, kind of and also some like topics I talk with my friends. Sometimes they talk to me about what happened during their day too, and kind of worry about them as well. So just yeah, random stuffs generally.
So what I'm hearing is there might be some like pre-bedtime anxiety happening in terms of thought patterns. Would that be accurate?
Yeah, I guess I am more anxious these days. Yeah.
How long has this been going on for?
I would say it's the recent week for yeah, not really long, but um yeah, just I just found that like I'm not more energized as before during this past week.
Do you have a consistent bedtime routine that you do each night?
What do you mean by routine?
Like, do you maybe like do a face mask, brush your teeth, and like read a book before bed? Are there consistent rhythms that you have in place that are kind of help you relax and are somewhat restful before you go to sleep?
Um, I don't think there is one routine for me. It's just usually before I go to bed, just kind of like do the readings for the class tomorrow. And when I've done some parts of it, I'm getting really tired and I'll go to bed.
Do you think it could be helpful to incorporate a consistent bedtime routine that kind of helps you unwind before you go to sleep?
Yeah, I think it will be helpful since kind of anxious these days. Maybe some practice to help me stay grounded and I might have a better sleep with that.
I can definitely look into some research and resources around what a consistent bedtime routine looks like, and I can bring that to our next session. Is that something that would be helpful?
Yeah.
Okay, great. So last time you were here, you had also mentioned that you were having consistent, mild, like depressive symptoms, maybe like once a week. Do you see any correlation between those symptoms and this recent inability to fall asleep easily?
Um, yeah, I would say they are related. Um, but I also don't know why, how it has affected my sleeping quality in the past week. Because since these thoughts are like kind of always there, it just happens once in a while that I just feel really depressed and don't want to talk to anyone. Um, just yeah, kind of just feeling tired, just don't want to go out and don't want to talk to anyone. But yeah, it might be related to my sleeping quality, but I'm not sure whether it is really that related. Like, yeah.
Are you still experiencing those depressive symptoms at the same pace that you were last time we spoke?
I would say it's pretty much the same. Yeah.
So about once a week?
Yeah, and it's so yeah, the same.
Have you ever been, I know we spoke about this briefly in our last session, but I want to ask a couple more in-depth questions. Have you ever been diagnosed with depression in the past?
No, I don't think so.
Okay. And is this recent season, the most concentrated kind of time that you've ever experienced depressive symptoms?
I would say yes. Ever since I've moved to Michigan, these kind of symptoms, there are more, um, like compared to when I'm still in California. I perceive that as a part of the adjustment of being in a new environment. So I didn't really care a lot about it since I know I need some time to adjust to this new environment. And yeah, I think it's normal if something just comes up, feeling depressed. I think that's normal. So it's grad school. I mean, it's stressful. Getting used to this very heavy school workload. So yeah.
Me. In correlation with a new place, which we discussed last time, as well as the stress of school, that new symptoms and uncomfortable feelings might be coming up. Do you have a family history of depression?
Um, no one has ever been diagnosed with any mental health issues, but I just think my mom maybe has some of it. But yeah, there's no diagnosis about it. I'm just kind of guessing because she's just gets irritated and very emotional a lot of well, like many times, very often. And I think she might have, but she never like went to any therapy or so. I don't know about that.
I'm going to ask you a couple questions from a screening on depression, just as an introductory today to just kind of analyze where you might be at on that screening. And then if you're interested and if your symptoms match up with things that are correlated to depressive disorder, then we could do a more formal screening in future sessions. Is that something that you would be interested in, a more formal screening?
Yeah, and I would like to know what kind of depression symptoms I have right now. What
Okay.
level am I in? Yeah.
So I'm just going to ask 2 or 3 questions right here, and then I'm going to take that data and find a more in-depth screening for our next session, and we'll go into more detail next time, but I just want to get an idea of where you are today.
Okay.
So on a scale of, let's say, 0 of never, sorry, to 7 of every day, how often on a weekly basis do you find yourself lacking motivation to do anything, to get out of bed, to do your schoolwork, to carry on with typical daily activities?
Um, I would say 1 to 2, maybe 2.
Okay. So kind of some or like rarely, but not a lot.
Yeah.
Okay, let me write that down. And then on a scale of 0 being never to 7 every day on a weekly basis, how often do you find yourself feeling sad, a sense of hopelessness or despair?
I think this one is higher. I would say around 4. It happens more when I lying on my bed. These kind of thoughts will come up more.
So a more moderate scale for
Yeah.
that one. Okay. And then again, on the scale of 0 being never to 7 every single day in a week, how often do you find yourself sleeping more than normal?
Um, I would say 2 again, because I go to school during the weekdays, so there's like not much time for me to sleep in. But on the weekends, yeah, I can sleep for a pretty much longer time than usual. Um, I go to bed at the same time, but I will wake up like almost noon. So um, if say 11:30 when I go to bed and 11:30 the other day when I wake up, that's almost 12 hours, I think.
Yeah. So, and that's more for you than normal. Do you typically average 8 or 9 hours? How often do you sleep?
Around 7 to 8.
7 to 8. Okay. On that same scale of 0 to 7, how often do you find yourself sleeping less than usual?
Um, I would say 1. It is only when I have an important presentation or something important the next day that I'll sleep less, but usually this doesn't happen often.
Okay. Thank you for participating in that with me. That was a little mini example of a screening, and I'm going to take your answers, assess them, and then next time we'll make plans to do a more formal screening for depression. And whatever those results will be, we'll create a treatment plan that is organized around your answers there. Does that sound good?
Yeah.
Okay. Moving on to kind of your relationship with your parents, how has that been since we last spoke?
Um, it's kind of the same. Um, we talk through Skype once a week. Um, they kind of like ask the same questions too. So I'm just I'm kind of tired of these questions being asked over and over again. Because I know what they really care about is my schoolwork, about how I perform, whether it's good or not, but they keep telling me about other things, and sometimes I get kind of annoyed of them like keep asking about these stuff. Our relationship is kind of the same. It's not getting worse, but um, yeah, it's kind of like that.
Would you say that your relationship with your parents is pretty heavily influenced or correlated by kind of your understanding of self or personal and cultural identity?
Yeah, I think culture really plays a big part in our relationship because um, I don't know how to put this. I grew up in America, but my parents grew up in Taiwan. They still have these, um, um, I guess, habits or thoughts of um, makes me feel that every decision I make, the most important factor is family. I need to think about family first, about everything I do. But I grew up in America, which is a culture about individualism, which I wanted to do something for myself too. But my parents keep giving me this idea and notion about you should think about your family too. So I kind of in a struggle of what to choose, because since these are like two different things, um and I have been, even though I wanted to um like do something for myself, but my parents like kind of keeps getting in the way of me making decisions. So yeah, I would say culture is a very big factor in our relationship.
What would you say like what aspects of your background or identity would you say are most important to you?
Being a Taiwanese, but also an American, I think the way I look and my cultural background and these influence from my parents, um, that I will never forget of being like part of myself is Taiwanese, but I'm also an American. Um, I just sometimes I don't know, I'm struggle with my identity as well as am I truly American? I look um I'm part of the minority group like in the United States, but um when I really travel back to Taiwan, I don't really speak good Mandarin, so I don't really feel belong there too. So um I don't know. I'm not really sure who I am. Yeah.
So it's almost as if you're existing within multiple cultures, but you don't feel like you fully belong in either culture.
Yeah, that's right.
That's a really hard place to be. Yeah. What aspects of your background or identity make a positive difference when it comes to your relationship with your parents?
What are positive?
Yeah, what's some positives in that relationship, and also in relationship to your identity and background?
Um, I need to think about that. I never think about this question. Um, 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 Regarding my relationship with my parents, I think sometimes the distance helps because when we are around together too often, we fight about uh, fight very often about little stuffs. So right now in Michigan, I miss them sometimes. I we have less fight because we're not together all the time. Um, I don't need to like receive a lot of negative emotions from my mother that I used to. So I guess distance helps. And your second question about my identity, um, I don't know. I've been struggling about this for a long time. I try not to think about it. Um, yeah.
Sometimes we get kind of spurred with questions and we're like, oh, I haven't thought of that before. And so I know that I'm definitely an internal processor. So it can take me a few days to really process a new question that's asked to me. And so this is definitely something that we can come back to and no pressure or need to answer right away. Are there any aspects of your background or identity that cause or maybe make your relationship with your parents worse?
Um, I will say I will say distance again, because when we just live in the same house, it's just easy to fight against some small things. But um, it's much better like when I went to college in California, and since I'm not living in the same house anymore, I just come back on weekends, and I like that kind of relationship. It's kind of connected, but not too connected with them.
Yeah.
Yeah, but like compared right now, Michigan to California, it's a longer distance. I would say I prefer to live somewhere in California, but not in my parents' house. I think that's the ideal distance for me.
Makes sense to me. So, in terms of our relationship, practitioner and client, how do you see our identities working best together?
Um, I don't see any like barriers or difficulties talking to you. I am comfortable in every session, so yeah.
Good to know. Okay, so regarding your relationship with your parents, this seems to be kind of one, if not one of, then the primary reason or circumstance that's maybe involving other negative circumstances in your life. Would you say that's accurate? Like this is the primary, for lack of a better word, problem?
Yeah, they really influenced me a lot
Mhm.
uh, in every stage in my life. So yeah, I think that's very accurate.
What would need to change for your relationship with your parents to improve?
Um, I think I've been the one that has been changing to like trying to understand their thoughts, but I don't see my parents doing any effort in understanding me because every time I talk to them, they just kind of like judging me about the decisions I make, judging me about everything. So I don't think they really try to understand me. It's more like me understanding them and try to find a way to get along with them. I'm trying to find a comfortable space for both of us. But I I don't know. I cannot like force them to change. I don't know how to actually because like I'm younger than them. They won't listen to me about my suggestions. Um but yeah, I've been working on trying to understand them. Um and um it hasn't really helped so far because we still fight a lot. Um because I think regarding change, it needs to be on the both sides. It couldn't just be me changing, but they doing nothing. So I think in the short term, our relationship doesn't won't really improve unless one day they find out uh, they are willing to change. Yeah.
So my next question is, what are some barriers to that change? You've kind of listed them already, but why don't we specifically identify barriers to that change and to that improvement of relationship?
Yeah, I think it's their like kind of knowledge since they are um, kind of successful in their job. They are people that are respected by most of the people around them. They feel like they have this privilege and knowledge, so they are not easy and willing to accept others' suggestions. I think that would be the barrier. Um, but I also think that it is not likely to change in the short term because as people get older, they just think they're getting smarter or something like that. So yeah, I don't think they will realize one day that oh, something that their daughter said was right. And maybe I don't know, maybe when I have a home, I have my own family, I am financially independent, maybe I have more like power or that I can finally that they will finally listen to some of my suggestions, I think.
So as of right now, there's kind of some reluctance or stubbornness towards change, maybe because of your status of still being dependent on them or still being fairly young.
Yeah,
Okay.
I think,
So
yeah, that's
so
right.
okay. So is it fair to assume that they see age as kind of correlated to wisdom or intelligence? Like the older you are,
Yeah,
the more wisdom or intelligence you have.
yeah, I think they think when they think of age, they think of more experience, and they think their experience are always accurate, but sometimes I think there are other ways of viewing things. Like there's no a completely accurate answer towards one thing. Sometimes there could be like possibilities about some certain stuff, but I think because they have these experiences, so what they said is the most accurate choice.
You see age as something that is kind of superior and correlated to intelligence and wisdom?
I will say yes, because I'm kind of like influenced by my parents because um, when they are judging me or giving suggestions to me, they will always like say because of what they've been through about their experience. So what they say is right, and I kind of believe in that because I really just imagine things in myself. I don't have this experience, so yeah, I would say experience is related to knowledge and intelligence.
So that's a point of agreement that you and your parents have.
Yeah, although I don't really want to agree with that, but I guess I have to right now.
Yeah. But I mean, um, the good news about that is that's a positive correlation or maybe a positive um, thing in common that you have with your parents. And a couple minutes ago when we spoke, you were having a hard time kind of identifying positives to your and your parents' relationship. And you just did that right then, identifying, oh, we do agree on something. And that's a good starting point. Even if I don't stay there, that's a good starting point, right?
Yeah, I think you're right. Sometimes it's just the negative feelings in my head that kind of blocks me of thinking some positive things. Yeah.
And that makes a lot of sense. I mean, I feel like it's pretty common, and I've definitely had feelings of like, well, I don't want to agree with my parents here. I want to be different. Or maybe I don't agree with them in a lot of areas, so I'm hesitant to in the areas that I do. So I can definitely relate to that. So let's play a little scenario in our heads here. Let's play maybe a little game. Let's say that you woke up tomorrow morning and somehow in the course of the night, your relationship with your parents had drastically improved. Like it's a miracle. Like you just woke up and everything was better, your relationship was better, you were engaging more authentically. Um, if that were the case, how would you feel?
That's great. I mean,
Yeah.
I wish that day will come sooner. Um, I think I'll be a lot more happier, and my parents will be happier too,
Yeah.
to have a better relationship.
How would your life feel different if that were the case?
Um, I think I will feel less pressure from my parents. Uh, Maybe I have less depression symptoms, um, and maybe less anxiety. I don't know. Um, yeah, maybe less symptoms I have, and my parents getting more happier. Right now, thinking about this, I think it's just something that both of us can work on. But I just don't know how to start this conversation of talking about this, about how our relationship can be different.
Yeah, and it's hard when you're the one initiating it too, right? So you're putting yourself in a vulnerable and brave position to be like, hey, let's improve this. And it's not necessarily for certain how the opposing person or party will respond. So that can definitely feel scary.
Yeah.
So it sounds like to me that maybe a way to mend the depressive symptoms that you're feeling or the stress related to school is to improve that relationship with your parents. Is that fair to assume?
Yeah, I think you're right.
In terms of creating goals together for your time here in therapy, would you say that that is a primary goal for yourself?
Yeah, I think the relationship between me and my parents is very important to me.
Okay. So we can agree on that a goal for this time together is to improve that relationship with your parents. Okay, that's great. What else would you like to get out of um, in your time here in therapy? What else would you like to change, maybe improve upon while you're here? Any other goals that you can think of?
Um, I'm having right now, because since it's really affecting many aspects of my life right now, I can think of right now.
Okay. Sorry, Zoe, you broke up there a little bit. I think my Wi-Fi is having a hard time connecting. Could you repeat what you just said?
Sure. I said I think the relationship with my parents is the core issue that
Okay.
I'm having right now, since it's affecting many aspects of my life. Think with you in the future.
Okay. All right. Well, that's what we'll focus on then. We'll focus on improving this relationship with your parents and what that looks like moving forward. Um, Now, the last time that we spoke, you had brought up a different couple things that I said I would bring resources back on in terms of resources on suicidality and suicide prevention and coping mechanisms for stress. And then I also included a couple other ones that I thought might be helpful. So I'm going to stick these resources in the chat. Just let me know when you can see them and if you've got them.
Okay. Can see one.
You can see one. Okay. It looks like my Zoom has frozen on my end. And so I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to send these via chat. So what I'm going to do instead is I'm just going to email them to you after our session is over, and then you'll just have them via email. Sorry about that. I'm
Yeah,
not sure what's
sure.
going on. Okay, so I want to end today. We've talked about our goals for future sessions. We've talked about what we're going to do moving forward. So our primary goal together is to figure out ways to improve your relationship with your parents. And that's going to be a heavy part of the care plan moving forward. And then next time we'll focus on doing a more formal screening of the depressive symptoms that you are describing so that we can incorporate that into your care plan as well moving forward. Does that sound good? Zoe, can you hear me?
Oh, I can hear you
Okay,
right now.
you can
Can
hear me
you
right now?
just hear me what I said?
No, I didn't hear you. I'm sorry. Can you repeat that?
I said that would be great.
Okay, sorry about that. Okay, so to finish off today then, is it okay if I facilitate kind of a mindfulness activity for you? It's a body scan, and it's sort of a meditation.
Sure.
Okay, great. Let me pull that up. Okay, so go ahead and find a place where you will feel safe, secure, and undisturbed, and let me know when you're there.
Okay.
Okay,
Ready?
alrighty. Lie on your back on a firm mat or cushioned floor, arms resting by your side, palms facing upwards. You could be on your bed too if you wanted to.
Okay.
If you find yourself having a hard time staying awake during the meditation, it may be helpful to open your eyes or prop your head up with a pillow. If neither help, you have the option to move into another position that will allow for wakefulness. Other positions include standing or seated in a chair.
Okay.
Let your eyes close and start to focus your attention on the fact that you are breathing. Allow each inhale and exhale to flow through your body. Notice how your body feels with each breath, as well as where the breath flows. With each breath, allow yourself to sink deeper into the floor. Keep in mind that your mind will inevitably wander through this practice, as that is what all minds do. When this happens, notice it and gently and kindly bring your attention back to the part of the body that you were focusing on. As you continue to breathe, on the inhale, imagine the breath filling your lungs and then moving down into the belly, into the left leg, and all the way out of the left toes. As you exhale, imagine or feel your breath moving in through your toes, up the left leg, through the abdomen, all the way into your chest, and finally out through your nose. With a playful approach, practice a couple of cycles of this kind of breathing. Use this breathing technique throughout the remainder of the scan. When you notice a tense or unpleasant sensation, breathe into it and imagine relaxing, releasing, and letting go. Begin to notice all the sensations in your body, beginning with the bottom of your left foot. Where is there pressure here? What does it feel like? Move from the bottom of your left foot up the ankle to the left leg, lower leg, knee, upper leg, across the pelvic region, down the right leg. Move into your pelvic region, scanning the front and back of your body. Notice all the sensations that arise and let them go. As you focus on each part of the body, observe what there is to see and feel there, without forcing anything to happen. If you don't feel anything in an area of your body, that's okay. Simply act as an observer, noticing how your body feels today. Continue up through the stomach, upper chest, neck, down the left arm, back up through the collarbone, down the right arm, up to your hairline, forehead, and finally your face. Remember to touch on each small area of every part of your body. For example, you may want to notice what is happening in between your toes, ankles, shoulders, ears, and tongue. Investigate every area of the body with a gentle curiosity. After touching on every point in the body, feel your body as a whole being, breathing in and out, fully alive. Okay, I'm gonna give you a second to reorient yourself, and then we can process that a little bit. Let me know when you're ready.
Okay.
How did that feel? What was that like for you?
Um, this is my first time experiencing this, so I feel like my body is really unfamiliar to me, that there are some parts that I have just not been carrying them and noticing them in the past, and I should like care for them more, um, for my overall health condition. And also I find in the beginning I can feel the tense in all my body parts, and at the very end I can feel that tense is kind of going away and I'm more relaxed right now, because talking about this topic, about the relationship with my parents doesn't really make me comfortable, and I can feel the tense while doing this exercise. So I think this is a really helpful one, and I can maybe do it before bed. Might help me sleep better. Yeah.
That's great. I can also include this exercise in the email that I send you, if that would be helpful.
Yeah.
So you mentioned that this exercise kind of introduced to you that maybe there were parts of your body that you were neglecting. How do you see yourself practicing paying attention to those parts of your body in your day-to-day routine?
Maybe like I just said, maybe before bed, or maybe when I wake up in the morning, kind of like um, awake my body and my mind at the same time, feeling what's going on after a night of sleep. I think that is important, and that might give me more energy to start the day too.
Great. I'm glad it was helpful, Zoe. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Is this something that you would like to incorporate maybe at the end of our sessions each time we meet?
Yeah, I think that would be great.
Okay, and we can do different variations each time, but it seems like it was really helpful for you. So I'd like to be able to bring that into our dynamic here.
Yeah, I like it.
Great. Okay, well, do you have any lingering questions for me before we finish our time together today?
No, no so far.
Okay. Well, I do want to apologize for my technical difficulties. It seems it's happened to us twice in a row. So I'll have to look into it and see what's going on there. But I will send those resources that I have for you via email so that you can take a look. at them, and then we can discuss them next time, either before or after the depression screening. Does that sound good?
Yeah, thank you for that.
All right, sounds good. Well, Zoe, I will see you at this same time next week, and I hope you have a great week. You have my contact information if you need anything between now and our next session.
Okay, thank you.
All
See you next
right,
time.
bye-bye.
Bye.